In this exercise, we're going to be discussing the drawing creation environment. And we've already talked about what a drawing is, and let's talk a little bit about the environment that makes up the drawings. To start with, we have to decide what type of file we want to use. In Inventor, you actually have two different types of files that you can use to create a drawing with. Originally, when Inventor was first released, there was only the IDW because it couldn't share the DWG with AutoCAD. Now Autodesk has done enough background work to the DWG, so programmatically, Inventor and AutoCAD can actually share the same file type, and that is true. You can open up a Inventor DWG inside of AutoCAD, or you can open an AutoCAD DWG with Inventor. Now, if you work in a mixed environment where you have a lot of legacy DWGs, I actually think it's better to use the IDWs just so you don't get them mixed up, so the user doesn't accidentally open up the Inventor DWG and start working on it inside of AutoCAD. Yes, you can open it in AutoCAD, and there's a lot of stuff you can do in AutoCAD that some people like or prefer to do in AutoCAD versus Inventor. But if you start exploding blocks and things inside of AutoCAD, then you lose all of your Inventor functionality. So I like to keep the two separate personally, but it's not a requirement. You can use the Inventor DWG, or if you're just starting out, or if that's all you have, or going forward, that's all you're going to use, you're going to get rid of AutoCAD, then you can use the Inventor DWG. I like the IDW. It's up to you. They look exactly the same. This is the IDW. If I hit new, this is the DWG. There is absolutely no difference. They look and act exactly the same. It's just a different file type. Just like you have a lot of files now that you can interchange and just change out the file extension, it doesn't matter. It's really the truth with IDW and DWGs. Once we get started here, you can see that we don't really have any tools up here for doing drawings, because to start with, you have your views. We put down a base view. Let's come up here and let's grab something here. I decide what my scale needs to be kind of right off there. And I can come up here, create. So I now have a base view and two projected views. The way this works is if I need to change the size of that view, see it automatically updates the other. Now the projected view is not linked back. You can see the link button here is not checked. So I can manually go in here and do that. I can look at my views in the browser. So you can see this is my base and this is my projected of that base, and they're linked together because that's underneath it. Whereas the isometric view is up here by itself. It's under the browser by itself, so it is not linked back. Meaning if I do something like change it to full color, I have to manually go in there and change that style as well. We have things like section view. I can come down here and cut this in half, get a really nice section of my part, drag it over here on the screen. You notice it doesn't even have to be on my sheet. It can be off screen if I need it to be. We can do a detailed view. Come in here, do a real quick blow up, show what that's going to look like. So you can see we create the views first, then we come over to the annotation tab. We start doing things like adding dimensions and adding notes. We can add tables. A lot of people like to have a revision table. You can stick that up in the corner. You notice that you have drawing resources here where we have things like the border, have multiple title blocks. By default, there's a small and a large. You can have sheet formats. What that does is if you create this widget over and over again, it just has like different number of holes or slightly different length or width or something, and it's a repeated part. You can actually predefine a sheet format so that you just open it up with this. And so if we go a new sheet here, they'll come up and it'll say, okay, what do we want it to be? And I could say the cylinder rod guide, because this is what we make. Okay. And by default, it brings up the proper scale and views. Now, obviously, this one wasn't created for the cylinder rod guide, but if you have a standard view that you create all the time of the exact same part, but just a little bit different, you can go through and pre-populate these with these sheet formats, and it will remember it every time so that you get a very repeatable drawing. So if this is the way you want it to look, you can get it to look like this over and over again. So this is the basic Inventor drawing layout environment. There's not a whole lot to it. I just wanted to show you real quickly how this works, how really the drawing environment has two halves. It's really kind of bipolar. You have the annotative. This is all your dimensions and everything. This is on this tab. Then you have your placing views, which is the actual drawing. So we can go through and we can do like new sheets, and we can add a sketch. Or we can come over here and we can do annotation. We can mess with layers. We can do charts. We can do symbols. We can do text. We can do notes. We can do dimensions. So we'll go through this one by one in later exercises. I just wanted you to see everything and understand how this environment works.